Guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back into the video. So things are starting to pop off, and I'm just going to talk in this video about some free thoughts about the altcoin market, what I think is coming next for Bitcoin, what I think is coming next in general. Also, I'm going to be, I think, covering XRP and my complete thesis, including fundamentals and technicals in this week's newsletter. I'm going to spend the whole newsletter just talking about XRP. So if you want to get a read of that, it comes out on Saturday, and it's completely free. There's a link in my bio for that if you want to go and check that out. Sign up. It's on Substack. So starting with Bitcoin, I compared it to ETH back in the 2017 cycle. I was actually holding ETH. It says loads here because I was just like playing around with this. So let me just get rid of that. I remember buying ETH in this area here in 2017 and then sitting through this sort of period where it was almost an ascending triangle. We kind of like took the highs and then came down and then eventually broke out and had an aggressive rally to the upside. That's basically where I think we could be for Bitcoin. It feels structurally like that. And to the high, it was like another 500%. Whether we're going to do another 500% here for Bitcoin is a different question. I'm just saying structurally, especially on the 4 hourly, it feels like that. Look, got that ascending triangle. We take the highs, come down, like still not quite broken out. Everyone's getting worried about the narrative of World War III sort of thing. And like, yes, it's very concerning narrative, but I just feel like it's almost a perfect setup for this breakout that I've just been talking about there. And what would 500% take us to? Probably 400k-ish, wouldn't it? I don't know. How realistic is that? Probably not that realistic. But I was talking to my friend last night. 500% would take us up to around 500k, just over. And let me get this straight, guys. I'll be absolutely frank with you. I do think that's possible, but I don't know if it's likely. I think it's possible. I'm going to show you altcoins now. Like, I think things are going to rip. The reason I say that I think it's possible and like things are a bit different is everyone's scarred from last cycle. Last cycle, right, let me just take you back to 2017. 2017, Bitcoin absolutely sent it on the markets, boys and girls. Bitcoin absolutely sent it in 2017. Let me show you 2017 before actually I get into altcoins. Where's my BLX chart, man? I was going to show you how crazy things can actually get. So it doesn't like me being on the 4 hour. Let's go on the weekly. This is the 2017 cycle here, okay? From the highs, or like from the breakout period, Bitcoin increased 2,500%. But from the lows, it went from like the absolute low, $200 to $20,000. 100x, I think that is, if I do my maths right. 100x. Even from the all-time highs, it went 16x. Yes, the all-time highs were only $1,000, and it went to like 19,000 something, I think, or just maybe reached 20,000. I don't think it quite made it, if I remember correctly. I remember holding in this run. I think I bought like in this period like 2,000, ran all the way up to 20,000. I thought I was Mark Cuban, and then round trip my back. There's no reason why we can't do something like that. Right, people are going to say larger market cap, when you have a larger market cap, percentage increase is more difficult. I completely agree. I get it. I understand it all. Having said that, I think last cycle was stunted. I think we probably should have gone more than 500%, and people are taking that into consideration when they make decisions in the crypto space. They're thinking last cycle is an indicator that every cycle for the last 3 cycles we've had less percentage returns, 8,800, then 2,500, then 500. So even in a worst case scenario, or like a continuing that sort of pattern, 184-ish% or 100%-ish, takes us to around 180k, and then that's fair. But there's a world where last cycle was not fair data, and we go higher than people think, because the pain trade this time is people think we're going to 120, for example. Like a lot of people calling for 120, just over 100k or whatever, and they start to cash out there, and then they're left on the sidelines for a massive move to 200 to 500k, like let's say, as a very, 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 very top side. Obviously, it's a huge market cap for crypto if we can get there, but realistically, let's say $10 trillion market cap for crypto. That's what, 3x from here. That's 270,000 Bitcoin. $12 trillion market cap, so 4x from here, which is what, 350k Bitcoin. Is it that unrealistic? I don't know if it's realistic or unrealistic, but I'm just saying, like, these things are definitely possible. So having said all that, let's just have a quick look at Bitty right now. Itty bitty Bitcoin. I've had a few coffees, you can probably tell, so I'm buzzing right now. It looks like it's ready to go, and I think the initial breakout target is 101, 102k. Having said that, let's look at Ethereum let's look at XRP and Cardano and altcoins. So XRP, people keep asking me, is it going to pull back? Is it going to pull back to this area, retest the top of the range, 72, 74 cent? Is it going to pull back into the fair value gap at 90s, like low 90s, so we can have an accumulation and send? I really do not know. I do not know. When XRP moves, it moves very aggressively, and I've talked about this over on X today. It moves so aggressively, and if we look at 2017 very quickly, I know people get angry at me for moving around the chart so quickly, but I'm taking you back to 2017 now. I'm going to try and talk you through it as I do it. When we moved in 2017, this is on the weekly, let's move to the daily just so we can see it more clearly what I'm trying to show you. We had an aggressive move in XRP and nothing to really let anyone enter back in once they missed the move. We had this range in, yes, obviously liquidity was lower and it's spiking about all over Binance. We had an aggressive move out, and then we retraced no more than 30%, 28%, and then we continued a further 494% before we had our first significant pullback, which was around 60% from 7 cent down to like 2.5, 3 cent. And then we went again from that 2.5 cent bottom, let's say, up to another 15x from there. And then we actually consolidated for a long time and had a final blow off top. And then we obviously had this 7-year accumulation period where we didn't manage to break highs, and we still haven't managed to. But we've finally broken out of this range that we've been in. This is a 1,000-day range here. And if you go back to the 7 years, 2,500 day from the high to where we are now. So people are asking me, are we gonna pull back? Are we gonna have the chance to get in? Is it gonna go to 90 cent? I really don't know. It didn't in 2017. Are we mimicking 2017? Again, I don't know. If we look at 2021 cycle, did we move aggressively there? Yes, but once we got here, what was the pullback like? We had this aggressive move out of the range. Did we pull back much? Yes, okay, we pulled back 40% there, so maybe we get a pullback. But then the SEC news came here, and we missed that run, potentially because of that. Maybe there's other factors. You can never prove it either way, but I would suggest that the SEC definitely had some bearing on that. But we have no proof of what would happen if the SEC didn't. So that all being said, what are we going to do? Where are we now? What are we looking at? If we look at liquidity for XRP, we do have liquidity below us, just below $1. A lot of people probably got their stop losses in there, but I also think people are going to be bidding the dollar hard. And you've seen that. We came down, we touched the dollar, people bidded that hard, and we moved up, but we haven't yet broken any recent swing highs, and we're still chopping around basically the range from 120, what was it? It's 127 that we set the high at, to around $1. And we haven't broken through retracement levels. I would like to see closes above 122, and then we probably send out towards like 220. I think the price is, or 212. That would be the initial targets. Looking around whether we are going to continue to break out, I'm looking at Cardano right now. Cardano has been one of the ones leading the charge here. One of the Dino coins leading the charge. We've had this aggressive move up, consolidation period, secondary move up, consolidation period. Now Cardano is fighting with its local swing high. If we just look, cool, Cardano is fighting with its local swing high. If we can get the closes up where we are today, we're literally going to be closing above their local high. And then after that, all-time highs is in the sights for the target, in my opinion, for Cardano. Obviously, we're going to have some retracement levels come in. Where are they going to come in? I haven't really researched Cardano too much. Retracement levels around 280. Hang on, what's that? Around 228, sorry, and 256 is where I'd be looking at. This sort of cluster here is where I'd be careful between $2 and 250. We could have some significant resistance there. Obviously, there are other swing highs that we need to watch for, like where we started our major capitulation after a bit of a dead cat bounce at around like 125. But looking at the structure, we're going to take highs here, potentially continuation from here. I would be looking at targeting all-time highs, breaking this range where we are now. Looking at the RSI on the weekly, is very similar to this period here, is what I said. We had our first entry into the overbought area, we pulled back, and our second entry, that's where things really started to get going. We broke the overbought area and started to really send it. We've had our first entry here, we've pulled back, second entry now. Are we really going to start to get going? And will we do a 17x as we did in the 2020-2021 cycle and go up to that? I think that would give Cardano a price target of about, say like 13 sort of dollars, maybe. And is that like showing us what could potentially happen for XRP? XRP lagged Cardano a little bit on this recent move. Let's show us on the daily. And then it broke out of the range. We've had those few days consolidating. Is it about to make its next move up towards 140 and then eventually 220 is the first few moves? That's what I've been talking about. This is where we're going to see significant resistance all the way up to about $2, I think. Above that, obviously, you're targeting all-time highs, which would be fantastic if we do get this move towards all-time highs. Let me take us onto a different chart, sorry. All-time highs, which come in at around I think it's 330. This chart says 350. This is Binance. Maybe we did wick up to like 350, but I think it was about 330. And then what happens after that? Difficult to know for sure, but if we look at total 3, which is the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH, something interesting has happened that I didn't realize. So I talked about an Elliott wave pattern happening, basically completed 5-wave and then ABC correction into a sort of a Wyckoff accumulation pattern down here. We broke out and we've seen wave 1, we've seen wave 2 retrace down to this level here. And what we've seen now actually is a breach of the wave 1 high, which would suggest to me we've started wave 3. Where could wave 3 take us to? Maybe 3 trillion, and the 5th wave maybe takes us all the way out to about 6.91 trillion for total 3. In the 2017 cycle, XRP's dominance, let me show you this. XRP's dominance actually reached all the way up to 30% of the market. Now, is that realistic to see 31%? Is it realistic to see something like that again? I don't know, but let's say the market cap of crypto goes to 10 trillion. 31% of that would be 3.1 trillion market cap for XRP. I think it's like a 50x from here. Do I think that's likely? Probably not, but maybe 14%, which is where we've got significant resistance, 12 to 14%. Half that, 25x from here, $25, possible. All the stars have to align, it has to come at the right time. So let's just say we're at 8 trillion or 7 trillion when that happens. So take off 30%, which would be, say, $6 minus from 26. You're looking at 16, 17, 18, $19, somewhere around there for XRP. Is that possible? That's getting more likely, in my opinion. Yes, there's a lot to do, and we're getting overcooked on the RSI, and there's a lot of hype coming. But be prepared. Be prepared for something like that. Have your take profit targets ready. Have your exchanges ready. Look, we're only at 3 trillion right now. There's a lot to go from here to there. There's a lot of things that could change, and a lot could happen. But just be prepared and think about what could be around the corner. Bitcoin dominance still holding 60% as alts are rallying like Cardano. It's positive signs. You've got all that Bitcoin liquidity potentially to roll into alts. If history repeats, if you follow Michael Saylor, he doesn't think it will, but he never has thought it would, but it has every single time. But if history repeats, does Bitcoin squeeze it to 70% dominance first before alts start to go? One thing that is extremely positive is we've got a lot of liquidity to still rotate into altcoins, and I'm going to look at USDT dominance just quickly before we finish up this video. I haven't actually checked this for a while. Okay, it looks to be starting to pull back, but we haven't lost any significant lows yet, just at 4.2%. If we lose this low here, we could start to get really sendy down, and that's when we could hopefully start to see things, people moving out of safety like stables and into crypto. Where you might start to see things get a bit crazy. I think we're on the edge of that. I really think we're on the edge of that. Cardano's given us the little insight. Okay, it's ready. Does it want to go now? Maybe it waits a few days, weeks, whatever. Or maybe it just absolutely sends it. That's where we are. 10% up so far today on Cardano. I've not checked Doge, but Doge has been doing a bit of a madness recently, and I thought it was going to break out last night, but it might have pulled back. Yeah, Doge is just thinking about getting sendy again as well. it's not the time to be like counting chickens. It's not the time to think this is what I've got in my bank, but it's also not the time to think, oh, it's definitely pulling back and I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket at this level if it pulls back. It's the time to be sitting on spot and creating your take profit targets. If you've been listening to my content for a while, you know that I've been telling you to buy spot. I did think Bitcoin was going to pull back out of the last range. Hasn't. Now with the World War III narrative, I really think that it's time for things to get sendy. On people be like, how can this happen? Like, doesn't anyone know that all this is going on? Blah, blah, blah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just think that everything's starting to align, and I know how crazy things can get when things like this happen. I wouldn't want to be on the sidelines personally, but I also wouldn't want to FOMO, so it's a difficult position for anyone to be in who's not been buying spot. I was buying spot, I've told you guys I've been 95% spot like this whole cycle. And I'm just going to sit and watch and tell you guys when I'm going to start to take profit. As I said, I'm going to write a complete thesis on XRP in my weekly newsletter. If you do want to know my thesis on the fundamentals and the technicals, probably put some take profit plans in there as well. Just go and subscribe on Substack. Free. It's free in my newsletter. Also, guys, if you do trade, would you sign up to MEXC using my affiliate link? It's in the description of this video. It's free to do, and it's a way to support my channel. If you already trade on there anyway, you can just transfer your UID to me. That'd be great. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.